Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life.
A Professor Sunreis Productions!
Hello class, Professor Sunreis here. In today's class we're taking a look at a replay analysis of me playing against Tearlaments. Well, this of course is the most relevant matchup right now and it's pretty basic. I thought this replay is kind of interesting because it has a nice combination of playing under floodgates and having a lot of room there to do some misplays, so I wanted to go over that. But most importantly, the game one was kind of interesting, just showcasing the strength of the deck and that even a bad hand can really be salvaged. So yeah, without further ado, don't forget to like, subscribe, please some feedback down in the comment section below, and let's get right into the replay. So here we are in the replay. Yeah, we are recording. We are up. Let's pause here a second against Kilau from EZ clan. I don't know, there's a lot of people who have that EZ thing at the end or at the start of the name. So like I said, we're up against Tearlaments. They are on Sharon, Merly, Saronia, Perolino, and Rhinoheart, and we are on Lubellion, Saronia, Talons, Lubellion, Ravine. So not really a clean hand. You don't really want to see that, but let's see if we can make it work. We go here for the Magnamud of the Lubellion, and then we of course activate the Magnamud on the Lubellion. We do have a second Lubellion in hand, which you could pitch off Ravine, so we don't really feel the need to, doesn't really feel bad to do so. So we activate Magnamud, we activate Ravine, pitch Lubellion, send Abserata because we don't have the rocket engine. In a weird scenario like that, Ravine is like it's the best thing to do with the Ravine. So we add a Tracer, and now the opponent will use their Saronia. No, it's not going to use their Saronia. Interesting that they don't use the Saronia exactly there on the Lubellion. So we use our Saronia on the Abserata, and they chain their Saronia. And now we have two options. We theoretically have three options, honestly. We could just take a look at their hand and rip one. In this scenario, that would be so bad because their hand is so filled with Tearlament names. Just getting rid of one there does not really do enough. Second option is to draw and see what we can get. We do have some sort of play, so just getting into a draw here could be very interesting. But the latest option is the most consistent one in my opinion. It is just to get to do the steal and go into an Atom. Because if the opponent does have another form of disruption here, we still have a normal summon Tracer and get something going. And like 9 out of 10 times that the opponent plays Bystials, a seal will be quite strong against them because they're either on Tearlaments or on Sprite, and against both of these decks I really like that. We do also have the Magnamud, so if we are up against Sprite, we have a Tearlaments. If we're up against Sprite, we do have a Seal Bounce, which is already pretty strong. Plus, we can go into Tracer here and get some probably get to Seal Savage pretty easily. But if you're up against Tearlaments, we already have two Bystials plus a Seal, so we get insane amounts of follow up. So I feel very confident just going for the safe play here and going Atom into Seyfried. Because the way our hand plays, we cannot use Seyfried here to pitch Tracer, which is something someone in the comment section said, and I also started doing independently from that because I saw a video on it, and just makes sense most of the time. I always thought it would be so bad because it plays into a Bystial, but honestly the recovery line for that is quite easy. So you only basically need one extender for it to be a safe play. So if you have Seyfried plus Tracer and one extender, you definitely want to use Seyfried to pitch the Tracer, because it just is the easiest way to do so. So we go for the Atom pitch one, summon Seyfried. Here we cannot go for the, like I said, pitch Tracer line because we need the Tracer in hand to be summoned off the Ravine, because we don't have enough bodies here to completely extend our combo. As you can see, if we summon an additional body here, we go into a Link 2, and then we still need a level 4 body to get into the full combo, so we had to save that one here. Though in hindsight it doesn't really matter because we would have had the one extra Seyfried, so Seyfried would have gone into that. Yeah, in hindsight it doesn't really matter what we did here in this position. It does play around an additional second Bystial at least to some degree, but we already still had the normal summon. Oh, okay, we did that because we still had the normal summon, and that way we save a boot sector launch for follow-up. That is what was there. So we go for the basic combo, we skip the Ravine, we go into a Seal. This is okay because it gives an additional light target, which is something I noticed because this deck kind of lacks light targets in the graveyard. You're just getting that additional light target in the graveyard can really help for Levy revive from graveyard, or just in general Levy getting the pop, because in this exact scenario we won't be lacking the pop, but sometimes you just want to have that ability, and maybe sometimes you even want to revive. So here we go, Bystial, revive a Magnum, which was banished, which is very important because now we can get the Rebellion out and get to our regain. And then we can go into the Borrowland, effect Borrowland, target the Recharger and get through the Tracer, get into the Savage, and then we can use Savage to equip the Triple Burst, and now we can use Safer to add back Rebellion. We banish one, so we can use Regain to draw one, and now we just refill our hand like crazy. We draw Magnamut, and if you remember, we resolved Magnamut, so here we search the Jerusalem, and now we have 3 Bystials plus the basic end board against the Tearlaments opponent. This is pretty easy. They decide to activate a Pararhino. I just don't feel confident enough negating that, just because they could have a multiple. Talents is one of the only real cards which can really hurt us here, so I really try to hold my Savage for Talents, and most importantly, we have 3 Bystials, so as long as they don't get to a Shuffler, Pararhino cannot really pop our Borrowland, which is like the only thing which I'm kind of scared of. So as long as they don't have a Shuffler, we can use all of the Bystials on their Tearlament names, and they cannot really use their Pararhino, and if they have that one Shuffler, we can always just Savage that, and then we still have did not play into Talents that hard. So I feel like this is the correct play not to negate it, especially because they could have multiples and you don't really want to play into those. So they do hit the Shuffler at the first possible option, so they go for Rhino 1, Mudora 2. They pitch a Merly, and they add a Suliak, so now they go Rhino 1, Merly 2. We do use our Serenia, which is the one they, one of the 2 which they know we have. It doesn't really matter which one we use here. We use the Serenia. Then we use our Regain, which was a misplay because we do have a Magnamut in our rotation, being in the hand. And we don't have enough space to get all 3 Bystials on the board, plus Regain, plus the Borrowland. So we shouldn't have just waited with the Regain, or just not use it at all. Here we had the opponent was a little confused on when the Regain will happen, but it doesn't really matter. They will chain their Mudora on the Halfness, and you probably should have negated, should not have negated that for that exact reason. It does play into Halfness, but it does not really matter at this point. Just protecting that Borrowland is very important. They mill the 2 mill 5 guys and a Sharon, which they didn't activate yet, which was the only one they didn't activate. So we regained a Magnamut trigger, putting back that. In reality, it doesn't really matter what we do because we have 3 Bystials. The opponent cannot really play at all, so the Borrowland doesn't really matter because there's no real effect on the board which we need to negate anyways. So like I said, it does not matter what one does do here. If you have 3 Bystials and some sort of engine against here, you just win. Our mills are insane. We have Safer, so we can get the Chaos Emperor back. Other than that, we have a Chaos base, so we already have 3 targets for the opponent to put back into the deck. So that's pretty good. They do hit 2 Shufflers, but spoiler alert, they cannot really do anything here. They Dark Summon Magnamut, which would be nice. They did mill 1. So they just go into Redoer here and just scoop. They took very long. I kind of was mad at that because they took like 4 minutes or 5 to do something and just immediately scoop. Not even try to get into the game, which was, I mean, if you do that, might as well just scoop already. But anyways, game 2, the opponent opens up with Agido, Keldo, Super Poly, Instant Fusion, Pararhino. That's a pretty nasty hand, not gonna lie. Our hand is not looking too clean. We have Drew's Worm, Boot Sector, Chaos Base, Veiler, and Seyfert. So they give for Keldo, pitch Agido, search Mudora, probably affect Agido here. Yeah, affect Agido. They mill a Merly and a Kelbeck and a Mudora, and we hit a Safer that, but that doesn't really matter what we hit here as long as if they're not trigger effects, they don't really matter because they will just get shuffled away for free anyways. So that mill 5 here, we do hit an Absorata though, so that's kind of neat. So they go into that. Here we can activate the apps. So affect apps and then the Veiler on the Kid Carlos. Pretty standard. We do search a Tracer. Now the opponent gets to search the crime off the screen. So that makes me think they already have a Suliak. They didn't mill it yet. So now they go for Field Spell. Field Spell, probably search Sharon, yeah. And then Sharon pitch the Mudora. They can just freely activate the Mudora now to manipulate our graveyard however they want. So they hit a Rhino, a Sharon, a Merly. They hit everything there, even though they milled too much. They just hit everything. And at this point, because the opponent took so long and just scooped, I did have a decent hand, but I could have waited for the top deck. But because the opponent took so long on their first turn, I was a little tilted. You can see here, they took quite long. So this was the dark effect. And they thought a lot about that before. So yeah. Thing here, and then they took like 7 minutes basically doing one line of play. And just scooping afterwards. Anyways, so game 3, we open Magnemite, Noctovision, Bystial, Saronia, and Lubellion, and they are Mudora, Sulliek, Merly, Perlino, and Nibiru. So we activate Lubellion here, get the Magnemite. We search another Magnemite because just the best one here. We don't really need the third name in Drew's Worm because we already have a Saronia already. So I felt very confident not needing that. So we go Magnemite on the Lubellion. On rest, use the Noctovision. We immediately go into Romulus here. Effect Romulus 1, Noctovision 2. I thought about just going for Seal in case they do have a nib, which in hindsight would have been very good. But then again, having Rivalry and the opponent nibbing you is basically an self-FTK at some point. So it's all fine. Ravine, pitch Serenity for cost, which is the best top deck probably just because it gives us a Lubellion back into the graveyard. So we send the Lubellion, add a Tracer. Now we activate the Saronia. We now do play into a Halfness, but this is not really that big of a deal. Because we turn it into a Lubellion here, and then we get the Regained. Then we normal summon Tracer, pop the Ravine, get the Recharger. We should go into... Then we go into Pisty here. Then we go into Triple Burst. I think we should revive... Yeah, we should revive Tracer here, and they do nib us. The plan was to get into the Striker Dragon at that point, but they do nib us before that, which is, like I said, not the end of the world. We can get Regained back as Serenade just as a nice body on the field. We set one, we search a Jerusalem in the end phase, and then in draw phase, they do draw a second field spell. In draw phase, we do activate the Rivalry, just because they cannot really play under the Rivalry. They just search a Halfness. They go battle phase, run over that, and set one, and pass. And in end phase, we activate the Magnemite on the Recharger. Recycling that is really good in this scenario. Chaining one Magnemite, chaining two Regain. This is also the main reason why I don't feel like I need to play a second copy for the Rockets, because now I put very high emphasis on the Regained, and I actually am testing without playing Branded Beast for now. And just having that Regained on the field and being able to recycle the Rocket most of the time really makes me not really want another copy. We do draw a Rivalry, which is kind of ass, not gonna lie. In any case, we resolve the Bystial, the Magnemite, searching a Chaos Emperor because we do have a Lubellion in there, so that's like a pretty good pickup. And we draw a Rocket Recharger, which is not the cleanest pickup, but it does work. We use the Chaos Emperor, pay 1k to get back a Lubellion. Now we use the Lubellion, effect Lubellion to search a Magnemite. We can normal summon Recharger, go into Striker Dragon, effect Striker Dragon, search Boot Sector launch. And then we use Striker itself and Recharger. So we go for that all line of play, effect Recharger, pitch itself, and then we target a Tracer. I don't like, I guess I did that. Yeah, because that's the only way we can get a Tracer on the board, because we have equal amounts of bodies at all times, unless I link them off into something. So, but I can't really link off into anything worthy here. So we go into Drew's Worm on the Recharger, recycle the Recharger a second time. Now we can't draw him because he's at the bottom of the deck, and now we can activate Boot Sector. We pop that to get into a Recharger. And we get into Savage, effect Savage, and for some odd reason, because of course the opponent is under Rivalry, and we really want them to either OTK them or just lock them completely under it, we do just miss the lethal here because we still have that and that. So that's 5.5k damage. And if you take a look, this does 1.2k damage. That's 2.5k damage plus 2.5 per 3. That's just lethal. But for some reason, I don't do it. I do have a light in the graveyard, so I could have done it. What I also could have done is summon the Lobelian of the Druid's Worm, send that so that even then we had lethal question mark? Not exactly, but with another Bystial we had. I don't know what was in my head there. I just played very bad. But this is, like I said, why it's so important to keep a cool head and change up your game plan on the Rivalry, because this is like a fine play, right? I still have like so much in control of the game. I did not resolve a Magnamut, but I still have like so much. I have a Regained setup, I have a Savage, I have a Magnamut, I have a Rivalry. This is fine, but I could have just won there because I had just so much pressure. I think what happened is that I didn't see this one on the extra deck just because it is like kind of like it's not really on the mind because it's just so gone. But I don't know why I didn't do that. They do activate a second field spell, searching a Sharon, and now they go for Sharon. We Savage and negate that. And they go for Halfness. I think doing that because we know that they have a Halfness is the correct play because it sticks in the hand. It just makes it so hard for them to play. They do chain a Halfness, which we also know, like I said, they had, but at some, I mean, either way, they guarantee trigger Halfness there, or they have to mill 3 and summon itself, and then we trigger the Regained and trigger the Halfness doesn't stay in hand, stuff like that. Here, someone was saying that I did activate a Magnamut last turn, but I didn't. So yeah, Halfness triggers here, sending a Sharon. This was the mill, by the way, so Sharon, Magnamut, Super Poly. We just chain the Magnamut on that. Effect Magnamut on the field. They chain Sulliek on that, so that is a little bit annoying. So now they can use their Halfness. But this is not the end of the world. We draw a third Rivalry. Now they activate the Halfness. And resolve into Kid. Paralino pop the one Rivalry, and Kid get into Rhino Heart. And at this point, you could argue to use Rivalry here so that they cannot normal summon it, but the play usually is here to Kid Carlos. So we just flip the second Rivalry. They have to resolve the Kid Carlos, and we know that they have a Sharon, so they can definitely resolve it. They go into Sharon, then they use Kid Carlos to mill 5 here. And even if they hit something, it doesn't really matter. It's at most a Rukalos, which is I think also an Aqua, and we can handle a Rukalos. Regain triggers here, summoning the Saronia. They do think if they want to do something as they cannot use something as chaining 1. They could Shuffler, but they probably want to save the Shuffler so that they can pop something. We draw into Chaos Space, which is not a good top deck, but we do have just so much on board. And here we do see a line where, because we have 1 negate, and they have only 2 lines of disruption, being the Sulliek and the Shuffler, we can just negate the Sullieks. That way they cannot play with their tier, because they don't send one, so we can just negate that. And then we just need a way to force the pop, and I feel like in a Tomb is the perfect one to do so, especially in this scenario. Here they think on summon. They use Sulliek, I think. Yeah, Sulliek on the Savage. We have to negate this because this does give the opponent... we do lose some attack if we don't, and it also gives them a Sharon. Of course, we have to negate that. And now they use their Shuffler on our 2 Lobelians and that. And they pop our Atum on summon. Like I said, remember guys. So they do pop that, but this is, like I said, pretty fine because now we can just summon the Chaos Emperor Dragon. Regained, recycle. We probably should have banished the Magnamut and just recycle that, but it doesn't really matter. We draw Talents. We can Talents, take a look at their hand, put back the Saronia. Doesn't really matter even if they had it because we had a Regain. We would have just gotten the damage back. And then we just go on the battle phase and attack for game. I don't know why I didn't do that the time before. Playing under Floodgates is definitely weird, like I said, and it just can like play with your mind where you're like so hyper focused on like one certain aspect, you completely miss out on other aspects. But this is why I wanted to share the replay with you guys. You can see I could have just easily won there, and if the opponent had like a slightly better hand, they could have definitely taken the game off us, or if they didn't play into the second rivalry so heavily like that. So yeah, I feel like this replay was kind of interesting just because, like I said, the rivalry being so interesting in the current meta, especially against Tearlaments and against Sprite, where they do have some very neat applications, especially if you can play properly under it. And with me showcasing you guys how to not do it and then telling you what I should have done differently, I feel like that does significantly help. And then the first game, I think, was just kind of crazy, where I went from like a very mediocre hand into full combo plus triple Bystials just because I drew kind of nice. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this replay analysis. Class is dismissed. You guys are free to leave. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.